I
All
love it.
right. Raw, 8/24/98 from Philadelphia. New Age Outlaws beat Southern Justice in 316 when Billy Gunn pile drove Dennis Knight and Road Dogg scored the pin. Hawk was at ringside doing commentary, pretending to be stoned. He says to Lawler, "Remember that time in the Mid-South Coliseum when you told me not to sell your pile driver and how it got over?" And then eventually Hawk just collapses and falls asleep.
That remember the Chris Farley, like, oh man, that was so cool. Remember when you we were in Memphis South Coliseum and I wrestled you, man, that was cool.
Jarrett comes out in his socks complaining about X-Pac and then starts shaving the head of one of the cameramen. There's a lot going on here.
There's a lot going on here, but that was the Attitude Era. Like Jeff Jarrett came out in his socks and then
Crash
shaved a
TV,
man's head.
wild segments.
Yeah, there's a
unpredictability.
guy passed out on commentary. Oh Lord.
First off, working with Southern Justice, Dennis
Yeah.
Knight and Mark Canterbury. What are your favorite memories with them?
Everything. Like I literally lived with those guys for a while in Atlanta. Lived with Tex Midian,
Yeah.
or
Naked Midian.
yeah, Naked Midian in Nashville when we worked for Memphis. So really, just seeing those two guys too for the first time in a while at a convention not long ago. Some of my best friends in the world. Loved working with them. Worked with them like you do with your good friends, really aggressive and really rugged,
Yep.
and so everything always came out all right. But so yeah, we had a great time working with those guys, and I love them both. One time we were traveling together, and I was asleep in the front seat, and they kept telling me to check the map, and it was in the glove box, and I kept thinking like, what? Jeff was driving, Southern Justice in the back seat. So I'm asleep and I'm passed out, not asleep. But they go, and I'm thinking we're in Degum, Tampa. Like Tex Midian, Naked Midian is from Tampa. Like, why do we need a map? When I opened the glove box, all my braids were in there. I passed out, and they cut all my braids off and put them in there. And I was so mad that I just started laughing, and we like drank some more or something.
Those wrestling ribs.
Yeah, it was all in good fun. Those guys were great guys.
Let's talk. All right. On the show after, X-Pac defeats Jarrett in a hair versus hair match. You and Billy run out to chase Southern Justice away, and you're in the ring when the electric shears stopped. When something like that happens, what's your reaction? Like,
Well, especially if it was, I don't know that it was live. It sounds like this was a, or no, you said this was a Raw
no,
again?
this is actually, I think, on the pay-per-view. We're in Sunday Night Heat is what we were talking about.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
on the
When they
show
came
after,
down
yeah.
to shave his head or whatever.
Yeah.
So what was the question again, Ryan? I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. So you're there to shave his head, and then
Oh,
the
and the
power
thing
goes
stops.
out. They stop.
Yeah, look, so I can tell
I
you
know
this
I'm
much.
a panicky guy.
Yeah.
And I would flop sweat. You would see my facial expression immediately change.
Yeah. Well, I would look. The first thing I would do is immediately, and I don't know what we did, but I would immediately look at somebody and say, "Get us some scissors." You know what I mean? And we're gonna cut this guy's hair. And if it was live, then we might not have had that opportunity. Right. We might have had to have him fight away. Go for the Clippers. Look, I know when we recently did this at NXT with who was the two talents we did the hair thing
Duke Hudson.
with? Duke Hudson and Cameron Grimes.
Yep.
We made sure that those things were charged and plugged in, and
backup
we
pairs.
had an extra pair sitting there. So I mean, it's things that go wrong, and you go like, oh, it's live TV. What are you going to do? But yeah, looking back, the first thing I would say is get me some scissors. And if it took too long, I'd just have him fight and get away,
I was backstage at TNA when Father James Mitchell shaved Raven's head in the Clippers, but he wasn't using the Clippers right. And he was like gouging Raven's scalp, chopping him up, cutting him up, and Raven walks into the back. I think Father James went to put out the handshake like with the thank you, and Raven just punches him in the face. It was wild. He was angry.
I guess. I guess he punched him and Father Mitchell's eyebrows went that way. So,
all right, did you think Jeff needed to cut the hair and get a makeover to give him the next phase of his career?
Yeah, I think he did, whether he wanted to or not. I thought it was actually great too, because then he got the high and tight, the flat top,
yep.
And him and Owen became a team, and the rest is history. So I think he did need a makeover. He had come back, and he was still, Double J and all that. I think he did need a makeover at the time.